Hi, I've been trying out the SEO app plugin for ChatGPT Plus, and it's really powerful. It allows you to pull in the contents of an external website into ChatGPT, and it can give you recommendations on how to improve the SEO, or it can really powerfully write SEO optimized content. Now, it's been said that you can just ask it, give it a prompt. You say, write SEO optimized article on this topic, and it'll spit something out that's really cool. But it has been said that the output can be very short that ChatGPT will provide. And you can ask it to assess the SEO best practices used in a certain article and write accordingly. And it might just go with its ChatGPT's training data and not really be working off the SEO app plugin's assessment of best practice. So I'm going to show you a prompting method that allows you to break down the problem into smaller parts, and you can get a lot more mileage out of ChatGPT when you help it think through the problem. You can get much longer articles, much more in depth, much more helpful. So we're just going to switch over to ChatGPT 4 to the plugins mode. Make sure we have SEO app enabled. We do. Okay, good. So I'm going to target, for an example, the query how to choose dog food. So I'm just going to search Google for that, find the first article that's not an ad. It looks like it's nice and in-depth, covers a lot of topics. It looks like it's well SEO optimized. I mean, you'd expect it at the top of Google. I'm just going to copy this URL. I'm going to paste into ChatGPT the URL. But first I'm going to say, assess the SEO techniques the following article uses to rank well in search. Also give me a list of the most important keywords used. New line, paste that link in there, and it's going to go away and think for a while. What we're doing here, rather than just trying to one-shot it and asking ChatGPT with the SEO app plugin to write an article in similar style, we're going to break down the problem, and as we go, we're going to ask it to improve. And this is a really powerful way of improving the outputs. You just ask it several times to critique itself and go over what it's done to re-edit. We can just expand this and see what it's done if we like. There's a whole lot of stuff here. It includes a copy of the article as well as giving an SEO assessment from the plugin straight away, even before ChatGPT. See all keywords, key phrases, etc. Even before ChatGPT's done its stuff. So it's breaking things down here into the SEO techniques that are used, and we can then copy this and use this in our next prompt. So firstly, though, I think we can make an article that's better than the original. We're going to ask ChatGPT for help on this before we start actually writing it. So while this is churning out, I'm going to say, what other closely related topics, misspelt, topics/questions would a reader find helpful for this kind of blog post to cover? While it's coming out with that, it's going to give me a long list, and we probably don't want a post that includes all of them. So I'm just going to ask it to select the top 5, shall we say. So while it's writing that out, okay, write an outline. Now this is what's key here. I'm not just asking it to churn ahead and write the whole thing all in one shot. That's going to be quite a short article, and it might not think things through properly, and that won't allow us to iterate so thoroughly. So first I'm going to ask it to write the outline of a blog post, and then we can tweak that and then ask it to write it section by section, and we'll get something much more in depth. Okay, write an outline for a blog post on the same topic, taking into consideration the SEO best practices you identified at the start of the chat. Also include the 5 most helpful and popular additional questions you just mentioned in your outline. Go. Now it's going to think about that for a while, and just for this demo purposes, I don't need it to give me the whole outline. So once it's started writing the outline, I'm going to stop it generating and ask it, okay, please write the introduction. Now this is the point where you can give it styling prompts. So say you want it to be a more conversational tone, you want it to be in the style of an expert marketer or an expert whatever. I'm going to just tell it, as an example, write in British English. So we can wait for it to produce the whole thing, but we don't need to for demo purposes. So I'm going to say, okay, write the introduction, write in British English, and it's going to write this content. If we keep on going through and say, okay, after it's done this, now write section 1, now write section 2, now write section 3, it may be a bit more fiddly than just asking it to do the whole thing in one shot, but you'll get something that's much more comprehensive and much more thought through. So here we have an introduction, which I don't know how many words. Let's see. 137 words. So let's say it had like 8 sections. That's going to be quite a long article. And after we've written after we've got it to write the whole outline, we can add an extra step. You know, we may say, can you take out section 3? Or you may just want to ask, is there any way you can improve this outline? And it may suggest, you may be surprised what it comes back with. You can do that several times. Another way you can improve this whole method, adding extra iterations, is if you assess the SEO best practices of more than just one article. You might want to do this in the same chat. You may want to create a new chat and do it for different articles. And so you're asking it what are the keywords used and the SEO best practices on the top 5, shall we say, articles on the one topic. And then you combine all those. You could ask ChatGPT to combine and pick out the most important SEO best practices from the top 5 articles, each coming from its own chat. And that allows you to distill the best of lots of different articles rather than just relying on the SEO best practices in one article. But that's how you do it. Basically, you're asking it to assess SEO best practices of a competing article. You're not copying the exact content of that article, but you're learning from it. You're asking it for ideas for content, whittling it down. Then you're asking it to write an outline, and then you're going step by step and asking it one section of the outline at a time, saying, okay, please write this, okay, please write that, and you're adding together with extra steps of iteration. That's just a way to get a lot more out of ChatGPT using the SEO app, rather than just one-shotting and getting something that's short and quite generic and not in depth. This just adds a lot more depth and allows ChatGPT to reflect and really improve its answers.